Ladies and gentlemen, there's a thread that binds humanity together, a quiet but unyielding truth that echoes through the corridors of time. Every man wants a woman to love. Not to possess, not to control, but to hold close in spirit and heart. Every man walks this life with dreams in his eyes and doubts in his soul. The world demands much of him, yet amidst the chaos he yearns for a presence. A woman who sees him not for the titles he bears or the strength he feigns, but for the fragile and flawed human he truly is. Love, you see, does not demand perfection. It thrives in the imperfect. A woman's love has the power to transform. It refines the rough edges of a man's being, elevating him to heights he could never reach alone. It is not in domination or submission, but in the partnership of equals, that this love flourishes. To love is not to seek completion, but to stand side by side as two complete souls, shaping one another through the delicate dance of connection. And yet, for a man, the love of a woman is often his sanctuary. It is the harbor he returns to after braving life's storms. The warmth that reminds him why he fights, why he dreams, and why he dares. But here lies the paradox. Love also calls for courage. It requires a man to be vulnerable, to expose his fears and failures, trusting that in her eyes he will not be diminished, but uplifted. And in that trust, he finds strength, a strength that carries him through adversity and reminds him of his worth. Let us not forget, however, that this yearning is not one-sided. For just as a man is shaped by the woman he loves, so too is she shaped by the man who loves her. Together, they create something greater than themselves, a bond that defies the weight of time and endures the trials of life. So, I say this. To love and be loved is not merely a desire, it is a calling. It is the foundation upon which we build our truest selves. Every man wants a woman to love, not because he is incomplete without her, but because her love makes him whole in ways he never knew he could be. Every man, deep in his soul, longs for connection, a connection that transcends the surface and goes to the core of his being. There is a yearning, an unspoken need that beats quietly in the heart of every man, whether he knows it or not. It is the yearning to be seen, to be known, and to be loved by someone who understands him at his most vulnerable and raw. And maybe I had come to that by trying to tell you, one of my men, this is not just about the pursuit of romantic affection or physical attraction. It is the desire for something deeper, something more profound. A man yearns for a woman who sees him not for the titles he carries, the mask he wears, or the roles he plays in the world, but for the person he truly is behind all that. This desire for connection is universal, timeless, and deeply ingrained in the human condition. And unlike most people's philosophy, in the hustle of life, men often find themselves trapped in the expectations placed upon them. Society demands strength, success, and control, qualities that are often portrayed as the markers of a man's worth. But beneath these expectations, a man is more than the sum of his accomplishments or his ability to endure. Beneath the facade of self-reliance and toughness lies a longing for connection, for a bond that is not about power or achievement, but about understanding and acceptance. This longing is not something he wears on his sleeve, nor does he always know how to articulate it, but it is there nonetheless. The connection a man seeks with a woman is one that allows him to be fully himself, without fear of judgment or rejection. In her eyes, he wants to see a reflection of his true self, not the person the world demands him to be. The truth is, all men carry an inherent vulnerability within them, a part of themselves that remains hidden from the world, protected from the harsh gaze of judgment. It is in this vulnerability that a man's true self resides, and it is this part of him that longs for the love of a woman who sees beyond the surface, who can reach past the walls he has built and recognize the quiet, tender humanity beneath. This connection is not about dependency. It is not about finding someone to complete him. It is about being understood by someone who can walk beside him, who can share in the quiet moments, the moments of doubt and the moments of joy. In this connection, a man finds peace. The longing is not to be rescued but to be recognized. A woman's love, when it is genuine, does not seek to change or to mold him into something else, but instead allows him to be exactly who he is, flaws and all. In return, a man offers himself with the same sincerity, recognizing in her a counterpart who shares his need for love and understanding. This connection is not confined to a fleeting moment or a temporary feeling. It is a bond that transcends time and circumstance, something that is built on mutual respect, shared values, and an unspoken understanding. A woman who loves a man in this way does not simply love him for what he can do for her or how he makes her feel in a given moment. She loves him for who he is, for the depth of his being, for the quiet strength that lies within him, and for the tender vulnerability he is willing to share with her. In this love, both are free to be their truest selves, without fear, without hesitation. It is this deep, unshakable connection that a man seeks with a woman. It is a connection that goes beyond the fleeting moments of passion and enters into the realm of understanding, acceptance, and partnership. Every man desires a woman who sees him not as an object to be possessed, but as a person to be loved, cherished, and respected. In her love, he finds not just comfort, but also a space where he can breathe, where he can let go of the burdens he carries and simply be. And in this simplicity, this shared humanity, he discovers something that transcends the struggles of everyday life. A love that is constant, unwavering, and this longing is a part of the very fabric of who men are, a part of the essential human experience. It is a call for connection, for recognition, and for love. Every man wants a woman to love, not just because it completes him, but because in this love he finds the truest version of himself. And in this shared love, both man and woman grow, evolve, and find strength in one another, creating a bond that is as deep as it is enduring. A woman's love has the power to transform a man in ways that words can scarcely describe. It is an elusive and mystical force that shapes him, refines him, and elevates him in ways that no achievement or conquest ever could. When a man is loved by a woman who truly understands him, who sees the depth of his soul and the tenderness behind his exterior, that love becomes a catalyst for his growth. As you know, I know all too well, what's inside him isn't always what's outside. It is not just a passive experience of being loved, but a dynamic, transformative force that awakens something within him. The transformation that occurs is not about superficial changes, but about a deeper internal evolution. A man who's loved in this way begins to see himself differently. He starts to recognize his own worth, his own capacity for love, and his own potential for greatness. This love doesn't just soothe his wounds or fill the gaps left by his insecurities. It challenges him to become more than he was before. The more he becomes, the more he goes out and thrives. It pushes him to rise above his fears, to confront his own limitations, and to strive toward a version of himself that is kinder, stronger, and more compassionate. In the presence of such love, a man begins to understand the true meaning of vulnerability. It is through the eyes of the woman who loves him that he can see the value of opening his heart, of revealing his true self, without fear of rejection. Her love encourages him to be brave, not by forcing him to change, but by making him feel safe enough to shed the walls he has built around his heart. End quote. In her acceptance, he finds the strength to expose parts of himself that have long been hidden, his fears, his weaknesses, and his dreams. And it is in this process of revelation that he experiences the deepest form of personal growth. But this transformation is not just emotional or psychological, it is also spiritual. A woman's love often awakens a man's sense of purpose, inspiring him to become a better version of himself, not for her, but for the world. When a man is loved in such a way, he begins to realize that he is capable of more than he ever thought possible. He starts to see his life in a new light, with new possibilities and new dreams. A love becomes a mirror in which he sees the best of himself reflected back at him. Moreover, this transformation is not instantaneous. It is a gradual process, a journey that unfolds over time. A man who is loved deeply may not even fully understand the impact it has on him at first, but over time, the subtle changes become evident. He may find himself becoming more patient, more understanding, more willing to listen, and more compassionate. These changes may not be immediately visible to the world, but they are profound nonetheless. They are the quiet evolution of a man who has been touched by love in its purest form. The love of a woman has the power to awaken a man's empathy, to soften the rough edges of his character, and to open his heart to the world in ways that he never imagined. It teaches him to care, not just for her, but for others as well. He learns the importance of nurturing relationships, of offering kindness and support, and of being present for those he loves. This is a love that does not demand, but rather encourages. It asks nothing of him but to be true to himself and to grow into the person he was always meant to be. And it is in this love that a man finds his strength. For a man who has known love in its deepest form is not afraid of the world nor of his own emotions. He is no longer bound by the chains of insecurity or self-doubt. Instead, he stands tall, grounded in the knowledge that he is loved for who he truly is. This kind of love fosters a quiet confidence, a sense of inner peace that comes from knowing he is accepted, flaws and all. This transformation does not imply that a man becomes perfect or invincible. Rather, it is a journey toward wholeness, where he learns to embrace both his light and his darkness. The love of a woman does not erase his imperfections, but it teaches him to accept them and to strive for growth. It is in the acceptance of his imperfections, coupled with the support and love he receives, that he becomes the best version of himself. In the end, a woman's love is not a tool to mold a man into someone else. It is a force that helps him unlock the potential within himself, the potential he may not even have known was there. It is a love that gives him the freedom to become the man he was always meant to be, one who is more compassionate, more resilient, and more aware of the power of love to transform. This is the quiet magic of love. It changes a man from the inside out, not by force or command, but by its sheer, unwavering presence. True love allows a man to embrace his vulnerabilities, not as weaknesses, but as a source of strength. For so much of a man's life, he is taught to hide his fears, to mask his doubts, and to present a face that is unyielding, composed, and in control. Society pressures him to be stoic, to be the provider, the protector, the one who never shows signs of distress. If he dies, when he dies, you are still one of today's queens. In this pursuit of strength, men often forget that vulnerability is not something to be ashamed of, but rather something that defines the fullness of their humanity. It is only when a man can show his vulnerability without fear of judgment that he can truly understand what it means to be strong. The love of a woman has the power to soften the hardness that the world imposes on a man. When he is loved deeply and without condition, he is given the space to reveal the parts of himself that he has hidden away, his fears, his flaws, his regrets, and his uncertainties. These are not the marks of a weak man. Rather, they are the honest expressions of someone who has experienced the complexities of life and continues to navigate them. A woman's love is a safe harbor in which he can drop his guard, rest his defenses, and be accepted for who he truly is, rather than for the persona he is forced to portray. In this act of vulnerability, something remarkable happens. A man begins to recognize that his true strength does not lie in the ability to remain unshaken, but in his willingness to embrace the full spectrum of his emotions. When a man can admit that he is afraid, that he is uncertain, or that he is overwhelmed, he is not displaying weakness. He is displaying. It takes far more strength to open oneself up to another person, to allow them to see the raw, unpolished parts of who he is, than it does to maintain a facade of invincibility. This is where the true foundation of intimacy is built. For a man to be loved by a woman who understands the importance of vulnerability is a gift beyond measure. In her presence, he learns that it is okay to not have all the answers, to not be the one who always has to be in control. He learns that love does not demand perfection, it only asks for honesty. By opening himself up to her, he creates a space for deep emotional connection, a space where both can share their true selves without fear of rejection or ridicule. This bond is one that is forged not in the absence of flaws, but in the acceptance of them. Moreover, when a man is loved in this way, he discovers a new dimension of his own humanity. He realizes that vulnerability is not a form of weakness, but a powerful way to connect with others. It is the bridge that allows him to form deep, meaningful relationships, not just with the woman he loves, but with the world around him. His emotional openness enables him to be more empathetic, more compassionate, and more present in the lives of those who matter most. This newfound emotional depth allows him to cultivate stronger, more authentic relationships, ones that are built on mutual respect, trust, and understanding. The love of a woman also teaches a man that vulnerability is not a burden to be carried alone, but something that can be shared. When he allows himself to be vulnerable with her, he is not simply revealing his weaknesses, he is inviting her to share in his humanity. It is in this exchange that love becomes a shared experience, one in which both individuals offer their hearts, their fears, and their hopes. This mutual exchange creates a partnership where both can grow, both can learn, and both can heal. In essence, love allows a man to let go of the idea that he must always be strong, always be the one who holds everything together. It frees him to experience the full range of human emotion without fear of judgment. And in this freedom, he finds strength, not the false strength of self-reliance, but the true strength that comes from vulnerability, from being open and honest with himself and others. A woman's love does not diminish a man's power, it amplifies it, helping him become more fully himself and more connected to the world around him. A man does not seek a woman to control, dominate, or be dominated by, but rather to find an equal, someone who shares his strengths, his weaknesses, his values, and his aspirations. In love, he desires a partnership, one where both parties stand side by side, each holding space for the other's individuality and humanity. This desire for equality is not based on a desire for sameness, but for a balance where both individuals are free to be themselves, where each person's contributions to the relationship are valued and respected. It is through this mutual respect and understanding that true love flourishes. The concept of equality in love is not simply about equal roles or responsibilities, but about an emotional and intellectual balance. Each person brings their own life experiences, their own perspectives, and their own ways of seeing the world. A man in love with an equal understands that he is not there to complete her, nor is she there to complete him. Instead, they are two whole individuals, coming together to build something greater than the sum of their parts. In this kind of relationship, there is no hierarchy, there is no room for control or submission. Rather, there is a shared sense of ownership in the relationship where both parties are equally invested in its success, its growth, and its health. This equality does not imply that there will be no struggles or disagreements. It simply means that when they arise, both individuals approach them from a place of mutual respect. The man does not expect his partner to agree with him on everything, nor does he seek to change her perspective to match his own. Instead, he values her opinions, her ideas, and her desires as much as he values his own. In this kind of partnership, love becomes an open space for dialogue, compromise, and growth. It is a place where both partners are free to express themselves fully without fear of rejection or invalidation. At the heart of this equality is the recognition that both partners have something valuable to offer. A man does not want a woman who will simply follow his lead. He wants a woman who will challenge him, inspire him, and walk beside him as an equal. He desires a partner who will stand up for herself, who will voice her thoughts, and who will not shy away from pushing him to be the best version of himself. In this partnership, the man is not intimidated by her strength or her independence. Rather, he is drawn to it, for it is through this strength that he finds his own. The best relationships are those where both individuals can stand on their own and yet choose to walk together, each bringing their own strength to the table. Equality in love also means that both partners are free to express their vulnerabilities without fear of judgment or rejection. A man who loves a woman as an equal recognizes that her needs, desires, and emotions are just as important as his own. He does not view her as someone to be protected, but as someone with whom he can share the burden of life's challenges. In a true partnership, the man and the woman lean on each other equally, offering support and encouragement when needed and giving space when required. There is no imbalance of power, no unspoken expectation that one person must bear the weight of the relationship alone. Ultimately, a man seeks a woman who is his equal, because it is in this equality that true love thrives. In an equal partnership, there is no need for pretense, no need for games or manipulation. Both individuals are free to be themselves, to express their thoughts and feelings honestly, and to share their dreams and fears without hesitation. It is a love built on trust, respect, and the mutual understanding that both parties are worthy of each other's time, effort, and care. In such a partnership, love grows not out of dependency or control, but out of the shared commitment to support and uplift one another, forging a bond that is deep, lasting, and truly fulfilling. A woman's love often becomes a sanctuary for a man, a place where he can find solace amidst the trials of life, a retreat from the noise and chaos that surrounds him. In the world, a man is constantly faced with pressures, societal expectations, career demands, familial responsibilities, and the ever-present need to succeed. These external forces can weigh heavily on him, often leaving him feeling isolated or adrift, as if he must navigate life's storms alone. But, in the arms of a woman who loves him, he finds a place of refuge, where the world can pause, where his burdens are lightened, and where he can simply be. The love of a woman provides this sanctuary in a way that no other relationship can. It is not just the physical comfort of being with someone, but the emotional and psychological safety that comes with being loved unconditionally. A man, often taught to be strong and self-reliant, can, for once, let down his guard. In this space, he is not expected to have all the answers, nor is he required to constantly be in control. Instead, he is accepted for who he is, with all his imperfections and uncertainties. This acceptance is a balm for his soul, a reminder that he does not need to shoulder the weight of the world alone. In this sanctuary, a man can heal. Love, in its purest form, offers comfort not just in moments of joy but also in times of pain. A woman's love allows him to share his struggles without fear of judgment or ridicule. When the world seems harsh and unforgiving, her love becomes a refuge, a soft place where he can rest and recharge. It is in her presence that he finds the courage to face his fears, to confront the obstacles in his life, and to rise above the challenges that might otherwise overwhelm him. But the sanctuary she offers is not just about emotional support, it is also about the space to grow. A woman's love encourages a man to evolve, to confront his weaknesses, and to become better, not out of obligation, but because he is nurtured in an environment where he feels safe to explore and change. This sanctuary is not static, it is dynamic, a place where both individuals can grow together, where each can find the strength to be their best selves. The love she offers inspires him to become the man he knows he can be, even if he has not yet reached that potential. Moreover, the sanctuary of love that a woman provides is one of acceptance and understanding. In this space, a man is not required to be perfect. He does not have to constantly prove himself, nor is he judged for his shortcomings. Instead, his flaws are seen with compassion, and his strengths are celebrated. There is no pretense in this love. There is only the raw and beautiful truth of two souls connecting on a deep and meaningful level. It is in this authenticity that a man feels truly at home, knowing that he is loved for who he is, not for what he does or what he can offer. The sanctuary a woman creates is not one that isolates him from the world, but rather one that strengthens him to face the world. When a man feels safe and loved in this space, he is more equipped to take on life's challenges with renewed vigor. It is from this sanctuary of love that he finds the energy to tackle his responsibilities, to chase his dreams, and to navigate the complexities of life with a sense of purpose and clarity. The peace that comes from being loved in this way serves as a foundation upon which he can build his life, knowing that he has a constant source of support and care. In essence, the love of a woman becomes a sanctuary in the truest sense of the word. It is a place of emotional security, of acceptance, and of growth. It is where a man can find the courage to be vulnerable, the strength to face his challenges, and the peace to simply rest. In this sanctuary, he is not alone. He is loved, he is supported, and he is free to be his truest self. I spent time in the embassy to Pharaoh, praying to the moon. A man desires a woman's love not only for the joy it brings, but for the inspiration it provides, an inspiration that pushes him to become more than he was before. In her love, a man finds the motivation to reach beyond his own limitations, to rise to challenges, and to pursue his dreams with renewed vigor and purpose. Her belief in him, her encouragement, and her unwavering support act as a mirror in which he can see his own potential, often more clearly than he could alone. This is the power of love. It is not simply a feeling, but a force that propels him toward greatness. When a man is loved by a woman who truly believes in him, he becomes aware of his own worth. He no longer measures himself solely by external achievements or the validation of others, but by the belief someone else has in him. This belief is not about blind faith or empty praise. It is a profound, knowing belief that recognizes his inherent capabilities and strengths. The woman who loves him encourages him to push past his fears and doubts, knowing that he is capable of far more than he may initially believe. Her support is not just a comforting presence, but a call to action, an invitation to take risks, to step outside his comfort zone, and to grow into the man he is meant to be. It is through her love that a man begins to understand the importance of self. She does not simply praise his accomplishments. She sees the effort behind them, the heart that drives him, and the spirit that propels him forward. In her love, he learns that he is worthy of success not because of what he does, but because of who he is. This realization is transformative. It encourages him to believe in his own potential, to recognize his power, and take ownership of his life's direction. It is this inspiration that sparks the fire within him, the desire to reach new heights, to achieve his goals, and to fulfill his dreams. Her love also inspires a man to be more than he was yesterday. In the quiet moments when he feels uncertain or lost, it is the thought of her belief in him that pushes him forward. Her love becomes the source of his determination, the reminder that he is not alone in his journey. Even in the face of obstacles or failure, he knows that he can turn to her for encouragement and understanding. She is not there to fix him or take away his struggles. She is there to walk alongside him, to remind him that he is capable of overcoming anything. This partnership in love becomes a constant source of motivation, driving him to give his best, not just for her, but for himself as well. Moreover, the love of a woman inspires a man to be better not only for his own sake, but for the world around him. When a man knows he is loved deeply, he becomes more aware of his impact on others. Her love teaches him empathy, kindness, and compassion, as it is in this love that he learns the value of giving, of being selfless, and of being present for those who need him. He begins to understand that his actions ripple out into the world and that the person he becomes affects more than just himself. It affects everyone he touches. In this way, her love motivates him to become a better man, not just for the relationship, but for the world that exists beyond it. The love a man receives from a woman is a force that stirs him to greater heights. It challenges him to expand his horizons, to break through the barriers he once thought insurmountable. It strengthens his resolve and sharpens his vision. In the embrace of her love, he becomes not just the man he is, but the man he is capable of becoming. This love, built on trust, respect, and deep affection, is a continuous source of inspiration that fuels his drive, his ambition, and his passion for life. And it is through this inspiration that a man is empowered to live a life that is not only fulfilling for himself, but also for the woman who believes in him, standing by his side every step of the way. A man's desire for a woman's love is deeply tied to the sense of belonging it provides, a connection that goes beyond the surface and taps into the very core of his being. In the love of a woman, a man finds a place where he is truly understood, where his complexities, fears, and aspirations are not just acknowledged, but embraced. It is a bond that fills the spaces he might have once thought of as empty, a place where he is not just accepted for who he is, but celebrated for his uniqueness. This sense of belonging is essential to his sense of identity, grounding him in ways that no external achievement or success could ever do. When a man is loved in this way, he is reminded that he is not alone in the world. So often, the pressures of life can make him feel like an isolated individual, someone who must navigate the world on his own terms without the support of others. But in the love of a woman, he finds a partner who not only shares in his journey, but who is fully present with him every step of the way. This love is an anchor, a reminder that he is not merely an individual fighting against the world, but part of a greater whole, shared existence with someone who genuinely cares, who values his presence, and who desires to walk beside him in both the good and difficult times. In her love, a man finds the freedom to be himself without reservation. There is no need to perform or to pretend to be something he is not. The love she offers him creates a safe space where he can shed the masks he has worn for the world, where he can let go of the expectations that have been placed on him by society or by his own self-doubt. He finds a place where he can be vulnerable, where he does not have to carry the weight of the world alone. In this love, he can rest, knowing that he is loved and accepted without conditions. This acceptance is not just about the big moments, but in the quiet, unspoken exchanges, the way she listens to him, the way she sees him without judgment, and the way she accepts his flaws as part of the person he is. It is in this love that a man finds peace, a peace that comes from knowing he belongs, not only to her, but to something greater than himself. Moreover, the sense of belonging that a man feels in the love of a woman extends beyond their relationship. It allows him to feel more connected to the world at large. With a woman who loves him, he begins to see himself as part of a larger fabric, his existence interwoven with hers and with those around him. This connection is not just emotional, it is spiritual. He begins to understand that his life is meaningful not just because of what he can accomplish, but because of the relationships he builds and nurtures. Love becomes the foundation of his sense of purpose, a reason to invest in the people and experiences that matter most. Through her love, a man finds the strength to be his truest self, to step into the world with confidence and authenticity. When he is loved in this way, he is empowered to explore new possibilities, to try new things, and to pursue his dreams. He feels that he has a place in this world, a purpose that is supported by the love he shares with her. It is through this deep-rooted connection that he finds the courage to face challenges with resilience, knowing that he has someone who understands him, who believes in him, and who stands with him no matter what life throws his way. In the end, the love of a woman provides a man with more than just affection or companionship. It provides him with a profound sense of belonging. It is a love that allows him to feel seen, heard, and valued in the most intimate and meaningful way. This love creates a bond that not only shapes his identity, but strengthens his sense of purpose in the world. It is in the embrace of this belonging that a man finds the courage to be who he is, to be present in his life, and to face the future with hope and determination. In conclusion, the truth that every man seeks a woman to love is not merely about the desire for companionship, but the deep need for connection, vulnerability, inspiration, equality, and belonging. Through woman's love, a man finds the strength to open up, to explore the depths of his own soul, and to face the world with renewed courage. Her love serves as a sanctuary where he can rest, be himself, and grow into the person he is capable of becoming. In the love of an equal partner, he is motivated to reach beyond his limits, to become better for himself and for those around him. The love of a woman is not about dominance or control, but about shared growth, understanding, and support. It is through this love that a man discovers his true potential and finds peace, knowing he is loved not for what he can do, but for who he is. Ultimately, it is this profound connection that allows him to feel whole, to feel seen, and to understand that in love, he is never truly alone. This is the power of love, a force that transforms, uplifts, and makes a man complete.